Hello everybody, and I have no idea why I'm doing this so soon after the last video, but I felt like, I don't know, there was room for improvement. So thanks for joining me for what I hope to be just a really quick intro to kind of my thoughts on what my writing process is, not just like thinking about the structure of things, but how I do the publishing part. Also, you may notice my bed is made, and maybe we can get some natural light going in here, I don't know. And the video, of course, is not blocking the text. So shout out to my dad. He didn't want people to be mean to me on the internet, which is just adorable. So this is going to be super quick. And it's basically just understanding the difference between content and presentation. And that shouldn't be pluralized, and I should have caught that, but whatever. Think like a programmer, right? Don't compose your writing in the output format. Do it in a simplified version and then upconvert to something with more kind of graphic fidelity. So don't author it in docx because then you're locked into docx. If anyone's ever tried to copy and paste between docx and plain text knows the struggle that the little dots for the bullets don't quite translate, and it just becomes a formatting mess. So my advice is skip that whole thing and just do the smart thing, which is just use text, right? As I was composing this, I kept thinking of more and more things, and I was worried that I was going to run out of bullet space. So thankfully, this list is appropriate. It's searchable. It's cross-platform. You don't need a special viewer. It's tiny. You could store billions of plain text documents for the cost of a handful of PDFs. That's an exaggeration, but whatever. It's versionable, right? I'll show that at the end. I composed these slides using this process, which I'll show off, and then I edited them, stored them in source control, and I'll show you the diff to say, oh, well, here, I added this it's versionable line, because I remembered, holy shit, it's versionable. How lovely is that? Anyone who has seen, docx final preview, third draft, bleh, it's disgusting. Get out of that business. It's gross. It wouldn't be a smug rant or a Smugcast, or I don't know what I'm going to brand these as. These are more positive. It's not a rant. I guess it's a rant. It wouldn't be one if it didn't have smugness to it. But genuine sincerity, too. Minimize the friction, right? If you're a content author, why are your tools getting in the way of your creative process, right? And this is kind of known. It's an idea that's been circulating around programmer community and people who are writers. Oh dear. Alright, I guess I will get back to her. That's really causing some sort of conflicting feelings for me right now. I'm about 50% through. You're going to have a good time if you minimize friction. Use Markdown. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to stop and re-record this. That's it. Sorry. Yeah. First draft. Fail. Hey, we're back. Sorry for that brief intermission there. Some things have changed. The room layout has slightly altered. I made my bed even further because I was expecting to re-record this. But it was just kind of cute to see myself have that sort of reaction on camera that I didn't want to lose that. You guys are getting free information, so if I have to use this to make her feel better, but more important, that she is actually, I'm going to do that because, I'm such a selfish prick. Let's talk Markdown, right? If you're a programmer and you don't love Markdown, you don't know what it is, then welcome to the future and meet your new best friend. This is Markdown. This is the Markdown content for these slides, which I will happily throw up here. Isn't this lovely? You've got some nice pound signs. You got a bulleted list here. Each pound sign is an H1. It corresponds to an H1. So really, all this is, assuming you're outputting to HTML, this is your kind of basic HTML document. You've got unordered lists. You've got headings. You can embed links and things. I didn't do it here, but these don't have descriptions. You can throw images in it, and it just sort of unfurls into whatever the specific output that you want is. If you want to think of this as like the data and the presentation is the presentation, then think of it that way, right? You wouldn't store, you know, I don't know. This is the kind of thing you could store in a database, right? Like it's raw data, and then you convert it into another format. So anyway, also VS Code. This is just a silent plug or an obvious plug for VS Code. It's got a great feature. Control-Shift-V, Markdown Preview. You can actually see what your Markdown is going to look like right in the editor. So good. Alright, so that's enough gushing about Markdown. If you don't use it, you're crazy. You know, if you don't use VS Code or another competent editor, please get one. Notepad++ has shown its age. It's great that it's free and open source, but it's just not sufficient anymore. So, with that in mind, back to the presentation. So, get with Markdown. You won't regret it, ever. And bonus, it's not just for presentations, right? This kind of plain text format lends itself very, very nicely to things like technical design documents. This presentation has no code snippets, but 3 backticks and the name of the language you want to use, and you get this nice little syntax highlighted. If your language and style sheet and all this output style supports it, for nothing, right? It's really, really beautiful. Blog entries, I do this constantly. There's a GitHub repository with all my blogs just in plain text Markdown. Go read them. I'll probably post this video and then all the notes just kind of splayed out inline. And then meeting notes, right? You're in the meeting, you're taking notes, just make bulleted lists, make make headings and subheadings. I mean, it doesn't support just H1s. You can nest kind of H1s or H1 through 5, right? By just changing the number of pound signs. So it's incredibly versatile, and it's a wonderful way to work that separates you from the kind of minutia of dealing with document types. Honorable mention goes out to some of these other kind of text formats that are similar, maybe a little bit more fit for purpose. So org mode is strictly for making notes, and it's got a high emphasis on kind of setting reminders and like little to-dos and like being able to traverse these big nested lists of things with a keyboard. It's cool, but I'm not quite there yet, and I'm not like advocating that. Restructured text is similar to Markdown. LaTeX is really just for print. It's a layout language for doing print. But you're probably not doing print. You're probably doing something digital. So you could probably live with Markdown. And Markdown is beautiful, and the syntax is simple, and you will just love it. So get the tools. Are the tools free? Of course the tools are free. I'm not going to advocate that you use something you have to pay for, as long as you respect that arrangement. Reveal.js is the glue that turns HTML markup into these kind of nice little slide types of things. You can find that on GitHub. I'll have a link to it at the end. Pandoc is this like universal Swiss Army knife, and it's this wonderful cross-platform tool. Works on Mac, Windows, Linux, whatever. It's delightful. It converts between 100 and some odd file formats and document formats. It really is just a fantastic tool that you should have in your toolkit at all times. And then, of course, get yourself a text editor that is real and powerful and supports Markdown syntax highlighting, or an extension that has Markdown syntax highlighting. So, quick walkthrough of what it takes to take this presentation from, I just had a thought, and now I want to encode that thought in the presentation. Let's see. Let us... oh dear. Let's say we're going to code. Awesome, slides done quick. Open that guy up, and, let's make a change here. Actually, maybe we will just put this right down here. This is not planned, by the way. This is just for fun. So now let us just throw this up there, couple of commands, copy to the clipboard. Now let's code pres. And if you can't see this, I'm sorry, but you don't really need to see it. It's just sort of. And again, I could probably have automated this workflow like a lot more than I have. There's a grunt task that's watching some of this stuff, so I could probably just as easily have automated this whole thing, to be honest. But there we go. And then grunt kicked it off, and oh, disaster! I have to reload the slideshow. That's a bummer. But anyway, this is great because this is a website, right? I don't have to like host the PowerPoint anywhere. This is just an HTML file. So your presentations are now web pages, and you can share a link instead of a file. Save some bytes. Your data storage people will love you. And I think that is it. Here are the links to information about Pandoc. All of this will be on my blog, which is not linked here, but you should know it if you found this video, smugdeveloper.com. And did I delete the finale slide? What a fool. Alright, well, yeah, that's it, guys. See you next time.